We finally get the origin story to Spider-Boy, Spider-Man's sidekick in Spider-Man issue 11. So like Spider-Man was saying, ain't no sidekicks I'm doing with kids and shit. Fuck that. Spider-Boy no more. So his ass tried to whip his ass and he did. He put him on the wall. This where he tells us that he's a boy genetically spliced with a spider. Spider-Man was like, yeah, I know. I saw what you did to Electro. What else you could do? He said, oh, you know the usual. Spider strength, super leaping, wall crawling. My spider sense is different though. It gives me readings off objects and it tells me when other people are in danger. And I can also monster out, but I'd rather not. And so Spider-Man was like, did you just grow those extra eyes? How can you even see out those things? He's like, with practice, come on man, you know this. You was the one who got me the training I needed. It was right after we first met. You rescued me that night from Madame Monstrous's lab. So he takes him over to Daredevil. And Daredevil trains him into basically learning how to see through his two eyes, because he was able to see everything at once. He thought Daredevil was like 8 different people. So altogether, he got 8 eyes. He covered 2 of them so that he can focus on this training, which he has been focusing on. He has 360 vision just like fucking Daredevil. So through the weeks, they was training together. Until you see at the bottom, he was able to finally close his other eyes and just use the normal ones. Then they went from the classroom to field trips, as you see him up here fighting the hand and they up here beating him up. This where he says, you know, I'm actually ready for actual superhero stuff. He said, yeah, maybe with a little supervision, Spider-Man says. He said, that'll do for me, deal. He said, whoa, I mean, you don't get me wrong, I'm honored, but why me? Why don't you choose old Hornhead over there? He said, well, spiders got to stick together, right? And besides, you may not have trained me, but you did something better. More than anybody else, you looked out for me. Thank you. And that's where Daredevil leaves and said, I'll check up on you. Don't even trip. You got secrets and stuff that you know you got to keep, and I can sense if you lying or not. So don't trip, Spider-Boy. I'll check on you. And go back, Spider-Man was like, so that's when you started tagging along with me with all my adventures? He's like, nah, some of them in the early days you made me promise to sit out whenever you were going up against the big guys like Carnage or Dr. Doom. He's like, okay, but if you're on Team Spidey, we're your web shooter. He said, you don't let me have him. I mean, we tried him once and it was an incident. He said, nah, I gotta hear this shit. He was like, nah, it's too embarrassing. Please, I'm begging you, don't let me go through that again. He's like, fair enough. What's up with the sneakers though? He said, what about them? How can you web crawl with those soles that thick? He said, weren't you wearing shoes when you first wall crawled? No one has Miles when he sticks to stuff with when he wearing sneakers. He said, but you really want to know, Reed Richards made of my spider gear. It's made out of unstable molecules. It's the exact same stuff the Fantastic Four uses in their uniforms. It can mimic the Human Torch's flame, Mr. Fantastic's stretchiness, and the Thing's toughness, and Invisible Woman's powers. So that means whenever I'm wearing them, my shoes just become just as sticky as my feet. Spider-Man is like, you put it that way, that makes sense, but I still don't buy that you'll be a sidekick with me. He said, it's the child endangerment thing, ain't it? He said, yeah. Can't believe we're still talking about this. He said, because we already worked this out years ago. It was right after my first big win. I took out a major bad guy all by myself. It was live, televised, and everybody saw it. After that, people couldn't get enough of me. And the villain name was Killinaire. Spider-Man called up Spider-Boy to tell him to get out the street because Killinaire put a hit on him, right? And that's when you seen this big-ass truck come. While Spider-Boy is telling us that he got 360 vision, his ass got taken up by this goddamn truck. And then you see him wake up in this ball. That it was a pinball because the arcade then got his ass and took him to Murder World. That's what Spider-Man came to save his ass. Told him like, this is out of your league. We got to get you the hell up out of here. Stop laughing and shit. You think this shit funny. He was like, come on, man. Enjoy the ride and shit. They was up there doing that, right? He's like, no, Kilgore fucking hired this motherfucker to get on you. He said, how did you find me? A spider tracer. I put it on you. He said, what? I ain't no damn dog. He said, no, but you the kid I'm responsible for. And that's when these damn robot things came out the wall and they got to fighting them and shit. Then he got to telling us that this is the closest thing that he ever been to an amusement park. Then the lights went out and fucking arcade told us that Kilgore check bounced and shit. And he refused to work for anybody for free, so he let their ass go. They leave and get through the little tunnels and they fall into the water. He said, look, you wasn't that bad in there. Tell you what, we'll move Arcade over to the list of bad guys you can fight. If you get good grades this semester, I'll take you to Coney Island. He's like, alright, cute story, kid. You got me convinced. Under no circumstances should I ever have a kid partner. He said, what you mean? He's like, bro, if that mean that, you know how I got stabbed by that damn knife. You got stabbed by that knife. Only people that got stabbed got erased and couldn't remember nobody. And that was back at the end of the Spider-Verse shit, like at the beginning of this series. And he was like, if you got hit that means that I couldn't save you. And he's like, you got hit by that shit too. Does that mean that you sit out too? He's like, dang, you got a good point. That's when you see him take this device and get out of the damn webs that he's in. Then he jump on motherfucking Peter and fuck him up. Spider-Man was like, how the fuck you get out of here? He's like, this damn bug pack thing. It looked familiar. He's like, web fluid dissolver. I made that. My man, he said, you made that. He said, no, I'm 10 years old. I don't know how to make this shit. You made it. He's like, yeah, this does look like my work. So it wasn't just Reed that built this for you, huh? Why did I make it for you? He said, because I asked you to, and I'm your partner. And more than that, I'm your friend. That doesn't happen overnight. I put that time, Pete, and you were trusting me more and more to deal with bigger and bigger threats. 10-year-old, huh? He said, yeah, it all came down to one adventure. He said, okay, kid, this your last shot. Make it count. You ain't gonna believe me. He said, try me. So who were we up against? The Sinister Six? Nope. The Red Goblin? Not even close. Galactus? He's like, the Big Wheel. Who? The Big Wheel. The Big Wheel? Yeah. This motherfucker right here, but he had an upgrade. He called Big Wheel 2. So to stop him, Spider-Man pulled this thing out of his utility belt. It's called a magnet inverter. He built it ages ago to shut down the Vulture's wing when he was 15. The damn dude in the Willy was finna use that shit to go into the damn the feast center. So he told Spider-Boy to fucking press the thing in like a sequence and shit and then stop it. And the Spider-Boy was like, shit, I don't know what you're talking about. Cause he started hitting that damn that damn nerdy talk shit. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna mash the button. He started doing that shit. And it made the wheel fucking go fast as hell. And that shit was going to hit Aunt May, right? That's what Spider-Boy said. Hurry up. Got her ass. Motherfucker went through the damn building. And Aunt May told him that was the greatest superhero she ever had. And she mistaked fucking Spider-Boy to be Spider-Man's son. Spider-Man came up to him and he was like, kind of like, look, I know I let the bad guy get away. He was like, no, Bailey, you did good. He was like, but I didn't do the little science thing that you told me to do. He said, who cares? One life and balance is that's all you needed to focus on. He said, because I saved your Aunt May. He's like, and he said, what did I say next? He said, you told me that it could have been anyone. One life, everyone, whenever you can. You said, that's what it's all about and that's all I can do. And you'd always be cool with me living the spider life that hadn't changed, has it? He was like, look, that hasn't changed, but maybe I have. When I got stabbed by that magic knife or my spider life had erased, I got to live a normal life instead. I had Uncle Ben back. Everything felt right. I have to be Spider-Man. I have to do this, but maybe you don't. We could find a cure. That's all I want for you, Bailey. I don't need a sidekick, and you don't need. And that's when Bailey touched the clothes. He's like, danger, getting a reading. The old man who usually wears this shirt, he's in trouble. Gutterball is out of control. Then he tells us, this is how most of my adventures start, and I have to see him through, because if I don't, someone could get hurt, and then I'll never forgive myself. Will you help me? He said, I get it, and you're right. Spider-Man doesn't need a sidekick, but this sidekick needs this Spider-Man. He said, okay, kid, you win. Go, so Gutterball, the bowling alley bandit, he's one of mine. So you do have your own rogue gallery. He said, tons, trust me, pal. You got a lot to learn. And this shit gonna be continued in Spider-Boy issue 1, which will be coming out in November. We also getting a Superior Spider-Man that's coming out in November. And before all that, Superior Spider-Man gonna return, and we getting a new villain, a setup for a new villain.